Hello, hello. I'm going to be making a folio and I'm going to take you along this journey with me from start to finish. I haven't done a test. This is going to be trial and error. We will see how it goes. What you are going to need is, I have a paper pad or paper from a paper pad. I have some book cloth, but you could use any fabric or Craftex or anything to join your pieces. I'm using this because I've had it for a while and I kind of want to use up some of the things I have. You will need 3 book covers. I've got some kind of vintage ones here and some plainer ones here. I'm going to work on both of these. They're going to be the same kind of construction, but I'm just really going to show you that you don't need a specific type of book cover. But what you need is you need a pair of book covers, and then you need one that's slightly smaller for the idea I have, if it works out. So I'm just going to move those aside for a second. I've got a craft knife, a ruler. I am going to be using EVA. You can use any PVA white glue, that would be fine. If you are using a fabric, then you might want to use Fabri-Tac. And I've got a brush to apply my glue. Construction, I'm going to put my book covers together like so. This will open up from the front and then this will open up. So this is where our exciting stuff is going to go on, hopefully. Now I have post-it notes and a pencil because I have a really bad memory and I want to make sure I get this right. This is way taller than I need, but I'm going to start by cutting the width. Now for this one, I actually want a bigger gap because it's going to have to close over the front cover. I'm thinking at least that's 2 centimeters gap. It might be too much. I don't think it will be. So for this one, I want the 2 centimeters gap plus, I think I want to cover it 2.5 centimeters either side. So that would be another 5 centimeters. So that's a total of 7 centimeters. Lined it up. And measure 7 centimeters. And then another 7 centimeters down here. Here's the ruler. Don't know if you can see my little marks that I've made. They are there. I'll take my knife and cut that piece of book cloth. Now I do need another piece. However, I don't want a 2 centimeter gap. For the second piece, I only want maybe a centimeter gap. So this one, I'm going to cut at 6 centimeters. You may decide you want your, I suppose we call this a hinge or a spine. You may want it bigger or smaller. You can do however you want to do. I've cut 4 pieces, 2 for the inside and 2 for the outside. So I have my 6 centimeter strips and my 7 centimeter strips. So I'm going to put those aside, bring in my covers. that's going to go this way. So we've got the two neat edges together on the outside and the two tatty edges together here. Right, when I was planning this, I wanted about 2.5 centimetres of book cloth on each of my covers. So I'm going to take my ruler and my front cover, line that up against the edge and make a line at 2.5 centimetres. You won't be able to see this, but I can, so should be okay. And a 2.5 centimetres here. And then I'm going to join those two lines up. That's my 2.5 centimetre strip. And I'm going to draw a line down here with my pencil. You can just about see that line. That's the area I'm going to glue. And I'm going to do the same on my back cover. There's the line. My software has now stopped working, so hopefully you're going to be able to see everything that I'm doing. So the longer strip needs to go on the outside, and I want this to be quite flat. I'm going to work on this side first. Got some glue in my pot. Using my brush, I'm going to add take my cloth. I can still just about see my line, and I'm going to line that up and push that down here. And I'm going to glue this side. Just going to use the lines on my board to line my cover up. Just going to make sure they are. So the inside is going to be much easier to do. I'm not going to worry about getting glue anywhere it shouldn't be. I'm going to glue along here, and I'm also going to glue in the middle here. This is my other piece, the inside piece. I'm going to line up with the book cloth, push that down, and then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to force this into that gap. Right, that's quite nicely stuck. This is a fast drying glue. It will take a little while still, but it's not slow. It's a reasonably fast drying glue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this flap. I had some glassine paper to put underneath as I was gluing, but I don't know where that's gone. Now I'm going to use the bone folder to feed that up first of all to catch the edge of the cover, and then I'm going to force this in to this gap. Takes a little bit of patience. Book cloth is a fantastic material to use for something like this. It's really strong, but it's quite supple. There are videos on YouTube on how you can make your own book cloth using tissue paper and ironing it onto any fabric. I purchased mine from Shepherds of London. If you are in the UK, they do ship internationally, but I don't think it's cheap. And I know book cloth is available in most places, so you'll be able to find it where you are. This is all going to be covered with cardstock, so I'm not worried about this little overlap. The only bit that's going to show is this little bit in the spine, and we might add something to that anyway, so I'm not worried about that at the moment. That's very nicely stuck, and we have a really neat edge. Again, I might add something to the covers. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do as yet. I've just got the basic plan in my head. We wanted a slightly bigger gap. I'm going to have to close this. So closing this, and what I'm going to do is just measure this piece here, and that is 1 centimetre. I'm then going to have things on the inside, so I think 2 centimetres was a good plan. And again, we're going 2.5 centimetres. We're going to start again from the outside. Turn this over. So 2.5 centimetres either side as my overlap. I'm going to do the same again. This is the outside one because it's the longer of the two. I'm going to have to do a little bit of fiddling around on the inside of this. So I'm just going to see how it works out. I actually don't know as yet how it's going to work, but I'm going to take my glue . Here, glue this section. Just making sure I've lined up along here and I've got my cover lined up, and then I'm just bringing this in until I meet that line that I've drawn. I think it's one of those things you just have to play around with and try and negotiate your space and your book until it's correct. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to spin it round. I'm just going to make sure that's level, and that's fine. I've got a little bit of movement on this one here, but that's going over the top, so I'm okay with that, happy with that. No, I've made a huge boo-boo, haven't I? Huge. Okay, now I'm going to lift. This is fine, don't worry. Don't worry about this. I'm going to line this up. This time I'm going to re-glue here. Huge boo-boo. I'm going to leave it in because I'm very happy for you to learn what not to do. As always. I was really in my head today. I was really thinking I'm going to be so much more professional today. I read Joey's article in the Foxy Rag, and I was like, I'm gonna take a leaf out of Joey's book. I'm gonna be super efficient, you know, and I just can't do it. Now I've got this line to know roughly where I want to line this up. Book's okay. I'm just going to do this by eye roughly now, and we will work with whatever we have when it comes to filling. If we don't have enough room to put everything that I want to in it, then we won't. We will see how it goes. Okay, that's that. I'm going to take my scissors, smaller ones. I'm just going to leave a little bit of a gap here and I'm going to trim there, okay, and I'm going to cut off this inch or so of fabric book cloth there. Right, now I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to cut there, so this becomes a flap, and I'm going to cut between there. No, I'm not. I'm going to cut, oh, I've done another error. I'm going to cut here like so, because that needs to fold over, and I need to cut to here. Just trying to work this out. That needs to fold over. That needs to fold over. But I need a piece to fold over here. So I'm going to cut a little bit here and a little bit here. Move that out of the way. Okay, so that's trial and error. I didn't need to cut that, but I'm going to have this come over here, fold over here, and this fold over here. Then this will fold down like so. It probably would have been a good idea. I'm going to re-show it on this one. I'm going to, now I've got in my head how this is going to work. So that was obviously not brilliant. I'm going to glue this in first because that needs to come in. So I'm going to glue this section here. And now, this is obviously now too long. Just going to tuck that in a bit and then trim this off. This is the right width now, okay. Okay, well, we have a little bit of a tatty bit up here, and I need to trim a tiny piece off here, just so those two are even, but that is not bad, not considering I hadn't done any kind of test at all. It was just by the seat of my pants. So not quite to plan, but this is our folio cover, and we've got a good amount of gap here to be able to add bulk to the inside there. So the start, there we go. It's quite neat, quite neat. I'm going to do the other one, and I'm just going to film again this corner and try and come up with an even better way to do that. I loved this tatty edge, which is why I've left that on the outside. I'm at this stage again for the second one. What I've done, I've glued on the first piece of book cloth. This will go somewhere around here if I line these up. I've taken the inside piece, laid it on top, and I cut out this little section here. Okay, I also used a piece that I cut out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and pop this into here once I've glued. This may go horribly wrong, but the plan is that will then fold over there. I'm going to cut here so that folds over there, and with any luck we'll have a neater finish than we did on the previous one. The next task is to glue this to this and get this ready to slot in. We may have to pop some glue onto that too. I'm going to turn this over, and remember this time that I'm going to line along this line here for this one, and that also needs to line up along that same line. I mustn't forget it goes at the top when I'm doing it this way round, but I'm going to have to work fairly fast, and hopefully this will work. I know it's probably really confusing, and I apologise, because I obviously did not make any plan as such before I started this project, but that's the fun, isn't it? Just seeing how it goes. I'm glad I was doing two at once though. That's really been quite helpful. Okay, here we go. Lift this up, line it up with that edge, and then bring it to meet my pencil line. Now I'm going to quickly flip this over before I glue it into place. I'm going to have to glue that side and this side. I'm going to lean it against here because that's going to be glued anyway shortly. Lift that up slightly, slot that in, and then drop that down. Okay, so we've got this little flap here now. Now I can push this down to make sure that glue sticks. And I'm probably going to get some "this is confusing" comments, and I apologise, I really do. I'm confused myself, but I'm going to see if it works. I'm going to spin this around here, take my craft knife, and I'm going to cut very carefully along that line there, so this will still be able to come over there like so. Next we need to put this into place, and I want to make sure these are lined up, but from now it should be. This is the only bit that's different at the moment. We've got this little flap in here and we've cut that out, so I'm going to just glue. I also made an error on this one because I didn't make my fold quite wide enough on that side. I'm going to trim that because that's slightly too long, and I'm also going to trim this side because that's slightly too long, and I'm also going to have to trim a little bit down here. Just going to guesstimate there. That's fine, that's fine. We're going to be covering the inside, so I'm okay with that. I'm going to glue this flap first. Okay, I think that is done. So we're gonna make the inserts for this. This one obviously has a major boo-boo because that doesn't actually close. I left way too small a gap there. I can force it closed and that will close too, like so. It just does not give me as much scope to add much to the inside of this one. So this is the one that we will probably be working on. I'll use that as an additional kind of, this is what you could also do. Kind of, that will close nicely, and we have a little gap to add, and that will close nicely. So this is the start of our folio. I will be, yeah, that looks much neater, that edge on there. But I think once we start work on this, I don't think it's really going to notice, especially when I've left this tatty edge. Anyway, part 2, we're going to make the inserts. I will be back with that fairly soon because I'm going to continue to film. Take care, and I will see you soon. Bye.